So this is Monday, 20 July 2026, and we're sharing with you the market pulse for this week. Just to remind you that on the screen you will see a dashboard with the time, trend, price, and the momentum. Current price is the current weekly, so the 20th of July, and previous is a week ago, so that we can see how the trend or the momentum changed. So let's start with the US dollar. And we can see that the trend is upward. It's in a bull phase. Price is above the trend. And the momentum has now also aligned with the trend. It's moving to this resistance at 100.643. So the dollar continuing upwards. Government bonds is the same, continuing its bullish trend upwards that we also saw last week, and continuing towards the 4.687 resistance. As far as the VIX is concerned, we have a counter trend on the bearish movement. So it means that it is actually moving upwards, very close to crossing the moving average here, and there's an upward resistance of 23.34. Then we come to the S&P 500 EFT, and here we see that the bullish trend actually continued. Momentum now aligns with it, and we have an upward resistance at 760.40. And then we use also this growth and income EFT that more quick show changes. It didn't have that alignment that we saw on the S&P 500, but on the current time frame of this week, it still is in a counter trend towards the bull, so slightly bearish. Then we come to oil. Oil is continuing its bearish trend, but there's a strong counter trend, as you can see here, as it's going closer to the moving average, and very much the same as last week, but the price has risen. Then South African Rand, the dollar against the South African Rand, same story as last week. We all have a bullish uptrend, but there is a counter trend, as you can see here, towards the moving average, and you can see here clearly show that counter momentum that is taking place. Gold is continuing its downward movement. It actually broke through this point, sorry, the 4,999 level, and we can see here that the momentum downwards is really strong, all in the red. And also there you can see it's going downwards. Then we come to Bitcoin, and in Bitcoin we have a bear trend. It's continuing that bear trend, but there is a counter trend at the moment. Price is above its moving average, and we see here that there is a green momentum taking place, but not very strong. There is a V here, and then an upward movement. So a bit of bullish momentum in Bitcoin, but still in its bearish longer trend. Next, we get to the Satrix World Fund. And here we have the same as last week. There is this counter trend as it closes in on its moving average. And we can see here that this blue line has also broke below here, which shows some bearish momentum. So there's a counter trend, and we have resistance at 1100,998, and we have support at 10411. Emerging markets, there is still a bull trend, but we can see that it fell quite far below its moving average. So there's a counter trend in price, and there's also a counter trend in momentum. Slight upward movement here in that counter trend. Then we continue to the top 40 Satrix, and we can see it's continuing its downward trend, its bearish trend. It's quite a strong bearish trend that we saw between last week and this week. Yeah, these lines should probably be a bit higher here, but for some other reason, our study didn't draw that. Satrix dividend also in a bearish trend, but we see that this week there was a counter on the momentum slightly, but still in its bearish trend. Very important is this level now, 287, that we don't break through that. Then the Satrix Global Bond Fund, bearish overall, but there is a counter trend in the price. Last week there was also a counter trend in momentum, but this week the momentum aligned, so it actually came back a little towards its bearish movement, and we have support at 3524 at the moment. But global bonds are bearish on the whole. And then Satrix Pro or properties continuing its bullish trend. But we can see that this week it slightly had a bit less momentum, but the overall momentum is still upward. A good thing is that we have a cross here in upward in green momentum, so it's aligning also with its long-term trend. We are looking at a support at 1,333 and resistance at 1560. And I think that brings us to the end of this analysis. See you next week.